The late afternoon sun draped the prairie in a golden glow, painting the rolling hills with long shadows. The wind whispered through dry grass, carrying with it the scent of pine and dust. Mara sat on the weathered wooden porch of a small ranch cabin, her hands clutching her side, her body tense with pain. Each breath was sharp, each movement a struggle. Easy. It hurts, she murmured, her voice quivering. Eli Turner, the rancher, knelt before her, his boots scraping against the wood as he settled into a protective stance. His wide-brimmed hat shaded his face, but his eyes, steady and calm, were fixed entirely on her. Years spent working the harsh lands had made him rugged, strong, and patient, yet nothing had prepared him for the raw fragility in Mara's gaze. "It'll be over soon," he said, his voice a gentle promise. Mara's hands shook violently as she tried to steady herself. I can't. "It's too much," she whispered. Eli didn't rush her. He let his hands hover close to hers, ready to support, never force, simply a grounding presence amid her storm. "You've endured worse than this," he said softly. "And you survived. You'll survive this too." Memories flickered across Mara's mind, the bitter winters when hunger gnawed at her bones, the nights spent hiding from men who would have harmed her, and the betrayals that had left her heart fractured. Yet she had endured, and now, in this moment, she found herself leaning not against the ground but against a man who radiated steady warmth. Minutes blurred into hours. The sun sank lower, and the sky deepened to amber and crimson, the prairie stretching endlessly beyond the cabin. Mara's shallow, uneven breaths began to slow as Eli maintained his vigil. His hands remained lightly clasped around hers, a silent reassurance. "You're almost there," Eli said, voice low, like a steady drumbeat. "Just a little longer." She gripped his coat instinctively, seeking reassurance. I don't know if I can make it," she admitted, tears threatening to spill. "You can," he replied firmly, "and you will. You are not alone." The cabin was still except for the faint creak of wood and the soft whisper of wind outside. The world contracted to just two souls, one racked with pain, the other unyielding, a rock of support and calm. Time seemed to stretch, a silent observer as Mara endured the agony, leaning on Eli's unspoken strength. Finally, the tension in her body began to ease. Her breaths grew deeper, less jagged. The tremors that had racked her hands began to settle. Eli remained by her side, brushing loose hair from her face, murmuring steady encouragements that were more felt than heard. Hours later, when the last shivers passed, Mara slumped against Eli's chest, tears now spilling freely, but not from fear or despair. They were tears of relief, gratitude, and a fragile sense of hope she had not felt in years. You stayed," she whispered. "I promised," Eli said, voice calm yet firm. "I'll always be here when it matters." "You are safe now." Mara's lips trembled into a small, exhausted smile. "Safe, for the first time in my life." Outside, the prairie swayed gently under the moonlight. Inside, the cabin was warm and quiet, the fire casting dancing shadows across the walls. Mara leaned against Eli, feeling the steady rise and fall of his chest, the solid reassurance of his presence. In that quiet night, beneath a vast canopy of stars, Mara understood something she had never known. Some people enter your life not to change it entirely, but to make the unbearable bearable. They give strength where there was none, hope where despair had lived for years, and love where fear once reigned. And as dawn crept slowly over the hills, Mara realized that she had survived more than just physical pain. She had survived the fear of trusting, the fear of being seen, and the fear of being truly cared for. Eli's unwavering presence had healed more than her body. It had begun to heal her soul.